I hope you will enjoy and learn a little bit or learn a lot in this conversation with Courtney Taylor. She is executive director, she just had to get new business cards, executive director at Accelerate Mississippi, but she also is a barrel racer. Is that current or former?
Current, right? Like right now.
Really?
Yep. I mean, not in the moment, obviously, but when I leave tonight, that's where I'll go do something with horses.
Okay.
So I've done that most of my adult life.
A lifelong obsession?
Horses have been since I was about 10.
Let's say passion, not
obsession.
Oh,
it's an obsession.
Okay.
It's very expensive. I could have a whole lot of things for what it costs to raise horses. They say the best way to become a millionaire raising horses and doing anything with horses is to start with $2 million.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it rolls. But yeah, I've done that since I was about 10 years old. We don't know where it came from. I just woke up one day and said I want a horse. And then it's been ever since then. I equate everything into my life to like how much a bag of feed costs. So it's like I can't do that because that's 3 bags of feed,
Yeah.
But yeah.
You want to talk about inflation? I'll tell you what a bag of feed cost a few years ago and what it is now. And my guess is it costs more now than it did.
It was $5 30 years ago, and now it's $30. So
there's a lot that's happened in the last 30 years. I feel as if we should say congratulations, executive director of this agency. A very, very easy and simple transition. Maybe not for you, but for the people who were making the decisions to say, you've been here, you understand what's going on, we trust you, take it.
Yeah, and I don't take any of that for granted. It's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed my last 2 years, two and a half, I guess now almost, with Accelerate. So being able to move over into this position has been a lot of fun most days.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of hard things to do. So it was comfortable. It was something I was familiar with, having run a lot of the programs at Accelerate. So just walked right into it. The people, not just the board, but the external stakeholders have all accepted me pretty well, and that's been a lot of fun. It makes it easier when you can just have real conversations with folks and not have to introduce yourself like a new person.
And it felt like your working relationship with Ryan when he was there was real. Like that was genuine, and so this was not like a stretch. It's like, thank goodness he is gone, and now I get to be the guy. Gal.
Well, it's okay. The guy's works. I miss him every day. He was a great partner for me personally, individually, and taught me a lot. And I'm sad that he's gone, but grateful that I get to stay and do the work because the work is really fun.
So just a little while ago, we were visiting with Bill Cork, and it's fascinating to me the way different agencies work together because sometimes you see rivalries and people are jockeying for whatever, but this has to work, right? MDA has to do their side of things in terms of recruiting and putting together incentive packages and trying to attract companies. And then on your side of the house, you've got to make sure that the existing workforce is either there or there is a program in place for training to continue to make that side of it attractive.
Absolutely.
It's quite the spider web.
It is a spider web. It is an exercise in, and this is where, I have a bit of a reputation for being very direct, and so it works, and so does Bill, and so it works. But it not only has to work for the agencies, it has to work for the state and for our people, because it doesn't do any good if they get confused about what the opportunities are. And we have a lot to do in that respect. We've done a lot as a state, as an office, as regions, whatever, but we have to keep doing more. And, it starts with us working together and setting up the appropriate programs, the appropriate expectations, those kinds of things, and then it splinters out. So talk about a spider web. It splinters off into different community colleges, different high schools, different universities, those kinds of things, to rely on them to actually produce what we need as a state. So it is a delicate balance. It is a tightrope that we walk every day, but we are fortunate with great partners and great leadership and able to just kind of move forward with all of this.
I may be overstating this, and you can tell me, no, Richard, you're an idiot. That's not right. But I feel like we are at a place as a state right now where if you are a Mississippian who is interested in working and willing to work, there are opportunities that exist for you in a way that maybe they never have before. And I don't really assuming there's a high school diploma. So let's kind of start there in terms of education. And if you don't have that, we can help.
Right.
But from a high school graduate all the way to someone with an advanced degree, if you're willing to work, there are opportunities that are out there.
There are opportunities. There's a hard reality that sometimes those opportunities aren't where you live. And so that's a reality we have to pay attention
Sure,
to.
yeah.
We have to make sure that things are aligned. But yeah, one of the things that we're working on and we will continue to work on is making sure that we have an adequate programs to get people from the I want to work to I can have a good job, because why send them to jobs that pay less than the living wage when we can get them into opportunities that pay well.
Visiting with Courtney Taylor, Executive Director, Accelerate Mississippi. Tell me about tiered training programs for Amazon specifically.
Yep. So, Amazon is a big beast because it's.
She didn't even look a little bit impressed that I knew that I had that question ready to go. Might have been tipped off on that,
it's
maybe.
Part of everyday life. Amazon has a lot of different opportunities, not just for Amazon. And so we're walking this delicate balance right now between the jobs that Amazon needs, your renewable energy engineers in general, all the way down into plumbing and electrical when you're looking at the spectrum of jobs.
Yeah.
And so as we're walking forward with them, we're also working to create programs in different parts of the state to address the contractors and their affiliates. And so the programs, we're talking fusion fiber splicing, which I had never seen in person, even though we've been talking about it for broadband. That's really
fiber
cool.
splicing.
Yeah, it's basically welding of glass, essentially. And it's in a little box, and you put the glass in there, and it lines up all perfectly, because glass does that on its own, right? It's very challenging.
You pull out your Eclipse glasses.
Pretty much. and it heats it up, and it melds it together, and that's how you get all the fiber stuff that we have. And so you have those kinds of programs, general electrical, but ultimately, at the end of the day, we're going to need a lot of those in a lot of Mississippi.
Yeah.
And so getting those programs stood up and out the door is a task, and we work on it every day with Amazon right now.
Tell me if this is not your department and we can move on. I was having a conversation with a successful contractor yesterday, and he said, my issue is labor. He said, I could come close to doubling the revenue of my business if I could just find workers.
Yep.
And he works really hard and successful. We've got a big operation, so the deal. And we got to talking specifically about plumbers. Mm-hmm. And he's like, if somebody, one, they could work for somebody else and make a ton, or two, could run their own operation if they could then bring skilled tradesmen in.
Yep.
How do we grow that?
So
there is so much opportunity there.
Oh, tons. Well, and I think it grows by breaking down what people normally think of culturally. When I say the word plumber, when you say the word plumber, what do you immediately think? Unstopping toilets.
Yeah.
When the plumbers and the pipe fitters that we need in this state are not unstopping toilets. They're laying fresh lines. They may be in the mud occasionally, but they're not in other things,
Yeah.
So I think it comes with demystifying what
You're
plumbing
also not
means.
in the office every day.
You're not in the office every day. And listen, there are days where I would much rather go build fence than answer an email.
No doubt.
So we have to demystify that, and we have to make sure that the programs that we have set up in the state are for commercial, not just residential. And so if you've got a plumbing program and it only has a toilet and a kitchen sink, that's not teaching kids or students what they actually need to know. We have to get into the commercial space to get them more interested so that they understand, because you only understand what you see. And that's the challenge with workforce. People understand doctors and lawyers and plumbers in my house, but not necessarily what the commercial side of it looks like.
Well, and I mean, if you are a homeowner or a business owner, you know how vital it is when you need it.
Right.
Right? But we don't necessarily think about that next step. Some of the plumbing, for example, that has to be done for commercial projects is fairly complex.
It is, and these buildings have a lot of HVAC in it, and you have to have a lot of plumbing for that. So plumbing and electrical are massive needs. Fusion, fiber splicing, massive needs. It starts with making sure that our education system understands those needs, that they are priorities. And then making sure that they have the quality. So something you got to earlier is how do we get more productive? It's not just by doing more, and not just by training more people. We have to train quality people, and we have to get them to work in a way that they can be productive for the industry.
You're on stage later today, right?
I am. Ready to go.
Big stuff coming up?
Yeah.
You excited? I am. Are you going to tell them about roping? Or barrel racing? Or?
I mean, it usually comes up in some capacity. So.
I love it. Courtney, thanks so much. Hope we get to do this again soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Courtney Taylor. She is the executive director with Accelerate Mississippi. Doing good things for the Magnolia State. Quick time out. We are back with Crystal Chapman from the Computer Science Teachers Association. That is next as we continue with you from MEC Annual Meeting 2024, 75th anniversary. We're back right after.